Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the year of the nerd. 2 Detroit nerds back at you another week. More content, another podcast. We're here again with y'all.
Always.
Dom, what's going on, man?
Adam, a lot's going on, bro.
That's true. A lot is going on.
I'm a little startled, to say the least.
Yeah, you know, we got an eclipse coming up. We got a lot of shit going on around the world. We got Diddy and his entire. We got the Diddy files coming out day by day. New, exposés on this man every day.
Like, what at this point? It's like, what aren't they going to find out about him?
That's what I'm saying. I think they might find out he shot JFK. I think they might start telling us that, you know, him and bin Laden might have been the same person. You know, I'm waiting for the bigger crimes,
yes,
to start to reveal themselves.
I've been ready for it.
But what's been going on this week, man? It's been it
feels like I know we got together last week, but it feels longer than that.
I feel like it does. Why does it feel that way?
Is the eclipse doing something to us?
I think number one, I've been seeing TikToks about the rare disease that people are suddenly, complaining that they have. Where
the new bird flu?
No, it's some brain disease or some sort of neurological issue where people see people's faces as like demonic, like exaggerations.
Nothing of this.
It was all over my TikTok. It was probably Schizo Talk that was just trying to infect my brain, but. The word on the street is that they're trying to lay the groundwork for when the eclipse happens, and certain people who might be, say, on the news, or certain people who might be public officials who we are used to seeing their faces a lot. Their faces might change during that eclipse, so they want to let people know, if you see that, it's because you have this neurological that we just suddenly discovered.
It's not real.
It's not real, man.
Yeah, none of it's real,
The great Tim Dillon, comedian, said something that I think is the best way to summarize what the last, I want to say, 5 years now going on.
Okay.
2019 on. Really, I'm talking about 2020 on.
Of course.
That the real message and motto of most mainstream media and sources and reports is do not trust what your eyes and your ears are showing you and telling you.
Yeah.
At all? It basically is saying your eyes and ears are not good ways of collecting information.
Okay.
You can only get your information from experts that we tell you who the expert is. Do not, if you are suddenly seeing that your community is falling apart, or that there is different people that used to not be in your community that suddenly are, or there's just certain things that are changing. Those are things you should not be paying attention to. If crime suddenly seems to be a topic of conversation that seems to be coming up every time you talk to someone, they talk about somebody they know that got mugged, or don't listen to that.
Don't worry about any of that.
Dom, look at the piece of paper that has numbers on it.
Yeah.
It says that crime has been going down. Nothing you got to worry about.
If it's on paper, it's the truth.
And I really think that's the best way to describe when people ask what's going on right now, or what is the state of things. I think that's kind of the best answer.
It's like constant deception and aversion. Think about it. Pay attention to this while this happens, but don't worry about that.
Yeah. Oh, no. Definitely not just don't worry about it, but if you happen to want to know anything about it, do not do your own research. We will let you know.
We'll tell you what you need to know.
I mean, literally, I think there's articles. Obviously, I haven't read them, but I've heard that there are articles from, major news publications that are basically, opinion op-eds saying that it's dangerous for people to do their own research, specifically as it relates to one major event that, affected most of the planet.
Yeah.
That one particular topic that won't be discussed because we do want to have a show that we can put out on
that, which will not be named.
So that particular issue is the issue that the article's about. But just think about that actual, what that statement's really saying.
It's the answer that people either chose not to believe or did not have the brain power to actually understand and believe. It is that answer. Yeah. That I feel like a majority of people did feel that way, and either again, didn't care enough to speak out about it, or maybe were scared. You know what I mean? Maybe because they might have an idea of some kind of repercussions, whether or not they may be physical. But that's what you just said. Like, I've already had my suspicion confirmed a long time ago. That is the answer. That's the answer.
And I think, man, even with some of the people that in the last, you know, it's interesting. Like, there's certain characters that kind of appeared out of nowhere, right? There's certain ones that we like to think of, at least people that are in our sphere of content or wherever we may lean politically or whatever it is, right? There's certain people that we all kind of know as household names now that maybe weren't household names 5 to 7 years ago, right?
Not at all. Yeah.
And isn't it interesting how they all kind of just popped up, like stood up almost?
It was almost on a schedule.
Right. And so there's a couple I want to work my way down, and just you tell me how schizo this is or how on the money I am.
Okay.
So this is the new segment called Schizo or On the Money. So Patrick Bet David, where did he come from?
I don't even know who that is.
He could not have existed before 2019. I don't believe it. Patrick Bet David is a Persian Assyrian real estate multi-level marketing CEO, or not real estate, sorry. What the fuck is that bullshit called? Insurance, you know.
Okay. Like an insurance broker?
Yeah, like just commission only, you know, kind of one of those wear a suit and have a firm handshake and you'll become a gazillionaire and you know, also be Persian and also possibly be, you know, connected to intelligence. And,
of course.
Yeah, but
that's on the money.
So so you think Patrick Bet David is definitely an op. There's something inauthentic.
No. You're talking about no skits. No, I thought you were saying your take on it being schizo or on the money. No, I was saying on the money, like he is he's not those things, but he was.
Yeah, he was.
We're gonna tell you this is what he is.
Right.
That's what I meant was on the money.
I think I'm gonna go with your interpretation of it better than my previous one. So yeah, I bet you he's a. Check this out. I'll bet you Patrick Bet David is really Richard Nugent. He grew up in San Diego.
Okay.
He's half Mexican, half Indian. He went to college for accounting.
Okay.
And then he got pulled into special black ops program where they downloaded a consciousness that these people they're not acting. They're not. These are a total Manchurian candidate. They have a call sign or a whistle or there's a handler near them and they like flip a coin and they just become that person. There's no there's no training. People think there's like something where they go to a training program and they have to do push-ups. No, they literally inject.
They strap you in a chair.
Yeah, they inject nanobots into your fucking spine and you become whoever the fuck they want you to be. There's none of this. That's in the movies, guys. But so
my God.
He's definitely,
that is fucking great.
He's definitely Op Central. Okay, so he's out the way. The next guy I got, and this is going to be controversial, Andrew Tate. Is it schizoid or on the money to interpret Andrew Tate as inauthentic and possibly some sort of cutout or creation that was designed to do something? I'm not going to pretend to know what it is.
No. That take is for sure. That's also on the money because, like you already said, bro, there's no way that these certain people or these certain personalities would have existed however long ago, right?
Right. Or organically, like you think about. So let's use Andrew Tate as the example of what I'm really getting at here. Okay, so we were talking about this off air, and I'm going to just bring it back up because I think we were on to something that was really interesting. So his backstory is he was a professional fighter. He, goes into the underworld and becomes, I think he said he started gambling and then he got into not call girls, escort management and also cam girl operations and things like that. And had probably some hands in other, illegal rackets, I'm sure, right? Like there was probably other scams they were running, internet bot farm. They were scammers. They were
it's
like
all hand in hand.
Yeah, they were like European kids that were on the internet and making, scams happen to find, little glitch kids finding glitches and making money. I think that was a big part of their early start, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, I'm going to accept that is
could be
mostly
realistic.
true.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip one of the bigger points that's an easy point because I want to go for the hard stuff. Yeah. The easy point that people will point to is that his father was intelligence or worked in intelligence, right? Yeah. I'm going to skip that one. That one doesn't even matter to me. I don't need that to prove my point. My point is he's making what he would say, and let's pretend like he's embellishing. Mm-hmm. So he was saying he was making, millions of dollars a week, right? Let's say he was making $300,000 a week. Let's just make it realistic for a conversation's sake. You're telling me he was making even that amount and he never got hit for tax evasion, he never got investigated, he never got audited? One time.
Literally, like, wasn't even a blip on a radar. And then it's like there's no process. The process we heard about came after he was already right here, right? He's just there, like you said, making all that money, doing all these things.
Yeah, I'm still and I'm glad you're clarifying. Like, I'm not even talking about him now. I'm trying to judge his legitimacy or the legitimacy of his story,
of course,
based on what he said about himself, right? So like, and also this guy that he rolls with, Tristan Tate, that's also a guy that's clearly an actor. That's not his brother. He's got facial reconstruction. That's not.
Say that, bro.
Like, are you serious, bro? There's absolutely no shot. I don't are you kidding me? But anyways, but getting back to my other
the
evidence of that this is fake is that you actually, this is evidence that you were telling me, his media training. This is the biggest giveaway. Is like, okay, never had formal education or formal training in any way out of a university. Never worked for like a large firm. Never had exposure to white collar professionalism. He's apparently this street guy that just made his way with his fists and
dead broke, no money.
Right, dead broke. Yeah, okay, yeah. And oh my God, these fucking fakers, bro. Anyways, so I'm just following this through line. He's saying that. Wait, where was I? I'm sorry.
At the point of like the media training we were talking about. Yeah.
So he's saying that he's this street tough and all this stuff, and somehow he can get on to the biggest talk shows and media productions. Dom, like,
we're talking about national news. He was on multiple different channels.
And people will say he was a professional fighter. I can hear people like, "You're such a dumbass."
Yeah.
Are you stupid? Yeah. I've seen plenty of professional fighters who cannot do an interview for their fucking life. So you're telling me we just happen, and I'll grant you this, that your premise requires that he happened to be the 1 in a million fighter that's somehow also the most articulate guy in the world. Okay, sure.
We'll give you that.
That's fine. Okay. Back to the tax thing.
Yeah, it probably just doesn't happen that way.
So now he's in Romania, right? His story goes that he was in the UK, and the UK was so shitty that he was in Romania. But then he says this. He does this other thing where he starts to obfuscate where he was actually living. Like, he would talk about where he visits, has locations, houses, and he gets on the jet all the time. Okay, sure. Also, that's some fucking great transportation routes you've got. Those jets that you have that are $50 million each.
Yeah.
That you have gassed all the time, waiting on the tarmac for you all the time.
Every time.
Those must be some of the most skilled, efficient pilots. Nothing's ever gone wrong. You've never heard him say he couldn't. He's always just flying around, never a problem. He can always rent the best supercar anywhere all the time. Okay, sure. You've got plenty of money and you've got connections and you're a with it guy. Okay. It's just that sometimes, Dom, when people move in a way that seems almost magical, fantasy.
Yeah.
What we've been learning, I feel like, in the past few years is that 9 times out of 10, it is a fantasy.
Yeah.
It's not real. Jeffrey Epstein didn't just get a mansion in Manhattan that was worth $100 million. Like, when people say it, they just accept it, but it's absurd. and no one called it, right?
Yeah.
So that lie continued until, you know, what happened eventually happened. But like when you look at it, something like an Andrew Tate story, and you realize like these are so many things about this do not make any fucking sense, and I either have to buy what you're saying, right, because I don't really have any other information. And isn't that interesting too?
Isn't that just so perfectly fitted to that narrative?
This is the most Googled man in the world. He's supposed to have lived all over the United States and Europe, or the UK at least. I need to see where all the people he grew up around are.
Yeah, because aside from his supposed brother, who else have we seen?
Who knew
to
him?
Fact check or credit
He's
any
not that
claim
old.
he's made? He's not.
He's not that old, yo. Like, where
are they not even 40?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Even, so it's like, and it's like, okay, you can have a couple of people come out of the woodwork, but I want to know when he said he was living in Chicago, when he said he was living in, I think like some other Midwestern city, and
like they knew nobody else besides the two of them.
You can't pull me one person who could be like, yeah, I knew them back in the day, and they were like this, and their mom was like that. And I'm just, these people that are just cutouts, man. They just have these backstories that have so many fantastic details. And I'm not saying that people can't do incredible things with their lives.
Right.
Of course,
it's very possible.
Even if like up until the whole reinvention of Andrew Tate, his regular upbringing in life is incredible. He was a kickboxer.
Yeah.
Fucking dad was a chess star, or chess master, grandmaster. That's an incredible, backstory. But then when it gets into his personal life as a young man, post him being a fighter, things start to not add up, one after the other. And I want to get to the other aspect of Andrew Tate that I think is another big giveaway. And this is going to go to the last person that's on our list of these topics. This will tie in, this will dovetail very well. I think that people like Andrew Tate give themselves away probably the most easily by recognizing that they truly are aware that they're playing a character at you, right?
Because if you can accept it,
there's so much going on when it comes to people that are professionally trained at deception, right? Or people who are, I mean, I know we were joking around earlier and saying that he was, getting syringed into getting a new personality, but whatever process happened for him to become this entity called Andrew Tate is something that requires almost your implicit acceptance. You have to accept that it's normal that a guy doesn't take his sunglasses off when he's talking to you indoors. We're accepting this character because any other person you're not allowing to be something that is other than a normal person with normal standards, you would say, hey, we're on national television. I'm about to do a really important interview with you. Do you mind taking your glasses off, your sunglasses off?
That's simple.
Right? But no one does that. You know who else people don't do that to? Actors and rappers.
Yeah.
Because we are accepting that there is an act that they're playing. And people can say, and I can hear the people tearing this apart being like, okay, it's one thing to say that he's doing an act, right? But another thing to say that he's a, intelligence agent. I'm saying if the shoe fits.
Yeah, I mean, to anybody that wouldn't question that anybody that is an intelligence agent doesn't go through the same training practices that an actor would, if not exceeding what an actor would only go through, is that not your answer, right? Like, how wouldn't they? Would you really think the highest of the bar, or the highest that the bar is set, would stop at actors and celebrities? Is that what we're accepting at this point? That is the end all be all for that aspect of deception.
Yeah. So like one thing I definitely that made me think of was that the people that are accepted into like the higher echelons of law enforcement, like FBI, right? The from growing up in Maryland, like the best of the best of the best are the people. I mean, academically, athletically, who get selected for like really good positions. I'm not just saying like a regular FBI field.
No, I know what you're talking about.
People that actually like go up and get to do cool shit. They actually are vetted quite thoroughly, and they are the cream of the crop when it comes to whatever their discipline is, right? Whatever they're being trained to serve for, right? So if I'm supposed to be the PR arm of an intelligence agency, why wouldn't I get the most convincing fucking people? Like literally the best of the best. I have the budget of the United States.
Yeah, you have the access to it, bro.
To employ the greatest resources I can possibly find. Of course, the people that they're going to hire are going to be better than fucking even Daniel Day-Lewis at acting. They're going to be the great. You're not going to even see them coming, and of course there will be ones that will be better than others.
Of course,
but I think one of the things that and the third person in this schizo or what was
on
it?
The money
Schizo or on the money list is Andrew Bustamante. He's definitely actually a ex-CIA agent, but is he? I guess we just agree on this, so it's not really a question, but it's more just it's very obvious that he is a PR person. He is not. He is not a guy that no longer works for the agency. He's just, I'm out doing my own thing and doing podcasts. No, you're not. No, and it's also blood in, blood out. This is gang shit. These are literal gangsters. This is
the most.
You think you're walking out of there with knowing the shit you know and just setting sail?
Yeah.
No.
Go live a happy life, buddy. You did all we needed you to do. Bye.
Right. Yeah. Like, and also, just the stuff that he is confirmed to have been involved in, and the different parts of the world that he's worked. It's like that guy is gonna be his vampiric, essence will be employed by that intelligence agency for the next 2,000 years.
Of course.
He's got a 2,000-year contract with them, but so I guess my thing about him, like the obvious giveaways, I guess, is my evidence proof that he's definitely the PR guy.
Yeah.
Is that like he definitely is a reminder that all of the ideas that we think we have about what that type of intelligence agency does, right, are completely only informed by movies and TV that they have complete control over, right?
Information we're allowed to have
of how they would operate, right? And from seeing him, you learn so much.
Just viewing him,
just from visually looking at his like ambiguous ethnicity and hair that makes him look like a Dominican dude from those early 2000s movies. He lets you know that like the Jack Bauer days, the John Krasinski days are over.
It's done.
Those guys probably are doing minimal, types of operations that are probably selectively used, maybe in European operations, little things that are not that consequential. The big things, the agents that they have are people that look like him. Yeah. People that are totally unassuming. He completely looks like a guy that you would be like, but not that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we said, the people that don't fit the description
of an authority.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like it was almost like they gave too much away with a guy like that. They should have made him a little bit more like white,
clean cut,
because that kind of starts to open up the can of worms of like, so who are the people around, some of the people in Diddy and you know what I mean? Like, it's like you start to look at some of these faces, right? And you think that, well, they don't look like they would be this,
but
right?
Don't you think that's intentional?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. But he proves that is what I'm saying. He proves that is the factor, and that is what they're more than likely going to present themselves as. Yeah. When you have somebody that is infiltrating or someone that is deceptive, like, and they're from a professional, good organization, they are going to make it the last person you would expect. And that's kind of who he represents in sort of our milieu of,
and it becomes relatable at that point for the people that aren't in that space. You know what I mean? So think about that. A relatable figure, what's that easier to do? It's easier to sway the minds of more people who may have been, no. Like you said, the dude's like the white, like the Matt Damon or a Tom Cruise. You see that guy in most people's heads. Oh, you fit that description. Oh, he's this. I can already tell by how he looks. Yeah. But now it's like with this guy, I can't tell it by how he looks, but I can tell it by what I'm being told. Yeah. And it's now flipped. Yeah. And it's bad. It's very bad.
Yeah. I think like what do you think is the overall goal of somebody like Andrew Bustamante? Because they're taking a big risk having somebody that flagrantly out there of like, I'm a content creator that was a CIA agent and my content is about, you know, wellness or excelling in your career, but using the tactics of a spy. Like just this commercialization of it too is very interesting. What do you think that is?
I feel like they want to ease the acceptance of the narrative, right? Because with somebody like him, and you said he speaks on like wellness and tactics of a spy and all that. Like it's like I haven't seen any of his content, but it's probably like much more enjoyable than anybody else that you could put in that position, right? Because he may have the personality or whatever else it is. So I feel like they're trying to ease the narrative by placing him in the spot that they have, because he is going to be able to generate and keep either a whole new audience or a same audience that was there but not pulled in yet. Yeah. Just literally like with like the smallest limit of just his appearance. You know what I mean? Like his appearance alone can get that, but when you actually like go start listening to him, and like they tell you he's ex-CIA, right? If he was current CIA doing those same things, it would not translate the same way.
And sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like he I wanted to just hover over what he talks about for a second.
Yeah, because I want to know, because I don't know.
The content of a lot of his interviews, because, you know, what's the first thing you want to ask somebody that has been like an agent in the field? Like, what are our biggest threats?
Yeah,
like,
what are your biggest threats? What kind of things have you done? Like,
all that stuff. And he, you know, he basically kind of outlines that the standard rule is that you never reveal, you know, methods and practices, like how they do something or where they do something. They're never going to tell you that, but they'll, you know, they can kind of explain in vaguer terms. And that's one of he had such a great opening, like a couple of lines on the original, I think Joe Rogan or somewhere that I saw, one of his first big ones. I think it may have been Lex Friedman, where he's like, you know, there's actually a lot you can talk about that, you know, people, they just feel too loyal to the organization that they don't want to break the code of silence. They don't want to tell the American people. And it's like, wow, that was such a great
that sells people. Yeah, that sells people, bro.
And it's like, if I wasn't a person that works in sales and like understands how to change, like get somebody on your side, bring the manipulation. Yeah, that's all it is. And I just heard how he kind of rolled that out and brought that out, and I'm like, this is a guy that they have doing something very important. Yeah, he is not wasted talent. You think a guy that effective who, okay, let's believe his story, right? That he just stood up a business, him and his wife, in like less than, you know, a year after them quitting. I'm sure they have tons of money because they were, you know, working and probably, you know, saved tons or whatever. But they just are on Joe Rogan, like, boop,
like so willingly.
Biggest podcasts in the world, like, pop, I'm here. Like, I just suddenly appear in your algorithm. Yeah. Suddenly I'm just here. And it's like the giveaways, like if we weren't doing a show like this, if we weren't actively engaging with the algorithm and seeing how difficult it is to sort of break into that cycle,
we wouldn't have the same take.
We wouldn't be able to speak to this with confidence. And it's like, yes, our show obviously is not the production value of their show.
No,
but there's
ours tons, is way better.
Yeah, ours is a million times better. It's gonna take them decades to catch up to our expertise and level of production design. But the way that they just kind of inserted that person's persona, and now he's like a face that you remember, right? You see him, and he has this. It's such a stupid thing that for him to say. He was like, "Oh, you know, one of the number one things you want to do is you want to be forgettable. You know, when you're visually forgettable, when you're an agent in the field."
And he's the opposite.
You want people, and I'm like, are you trying to like play a joke on me?
Said he's got like a fro and shit.
Yeah, I was like, are you trying to like see how stupid I am right now? Because you look like a guy I'll never forget. If I saw your face anywhere in the world, I'd be like, that guy that I saw.
I've seen him once in my life. 10 years can pass. I remember your face.
So I think maybe that works for like white people. I think white people fall for that because they're like, yes, brown.
Careful,
man.
Bro.
Well, of course. All due respect to you, a quarter of you, and
no, I'm not talking about me
and my fiance, but
I'm with that.
The thing is, I think other people might fall for that because they're thinking kind of in general terms, where they're like, well, yeah, if he was in the Middle East, he does not look Middle Eastern. I could look at that guy. You could look at that guy. You could definitely look at that guy and be like, Why is that a Dominican guy in Syria
claiming me,
bro? If I was in Syria and I was like driving in a Humvee and his Humvee passed my Humvee and I was like,
you're stopping.
I'm like, that dude is definitely a Dominican dude, Puerto Rican dude, and he's intelligence. Get away from that car.
Off your first pass by?
Immediately, I'd be like, yo, get as far away from that car as possible. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd do. I'd be like, that dude is not Arab at all.
I mean, since we're on that, the topic of these types of people just being randomly inserted, isn't it kind of crazy how many people these last few years have been popping up that follow that, like, the same path to get to that point, which isn't much of a path, or just kind of, there's so many content creators, right? I've never in my life for the past like 4 to 5 years seen so many random ass people just pop up.
Well, it's like,
and I know it's the content creation era. That I'm fully aware
even
of that.
I was just talking to Ali about this yesterday. Here's my other conspiracy theory. We're just doing unsubstantiated ideas for this episode, guys. We were going to talk about anime, but you know what?
We felt this was the better route to go with.
You know what? Y'all have Crunchyroll too. Yeah. Watch an anime. Yeah. Tell us about.
We'll get back.
Why don't you do us do a show for us about anime?
Yes,
but
pass the torch to you guys for an episode.
No, but oh shit!
What you told Ali about these random people just.
Did I start this whole thing off of talking about Shogun?
Our first one was.
And then how did I get all the way into this?
No, I don't think we didn't start this one with Shogun.
No, I know.
Yeah, we did, because it was like Hulu and then the streaming service. Then I said something about it was like Hulu and Fox being owned by the other, and then it just here we are. I don't remember the initial point where it passed over, but
it's been a long week.
It has,
and honestly, guys, like there's just so much to talk about that's it's enriching, I think, just in the exploration of ideas.
It's healthy, bro.
It's healthy. It's a good way. If this is your, second monitor content that you're listening to, if you're on a long drive, just pretend like this is friendship simulator time, guys. We're your friends. We're hanging out with you right now. Mm-hmm. We've
keeping you company.
Yeah, we've known each other since, we were all in the sandbox together, and, we used to all go, to summer camp or whatever, like
little Jimmy used to bully all of us.
Exactly.
And he doesn't anymore.
We used to run for the ice cream truck and ride our bikes. This is like one of those times.
It's normal. You could learn something.
So where were we?
You were saying the conversation you and Ali had about.
So something I brought up to Ali was my theory on what OnlyFans was, what that did,
originally,
what this like. What was going on with that, right? Okay, so what I think, here's my theory. I think a lot of the people, the big names that you can think of just from having listened to stuff and being on Twitter, there's certain names you can name off the top of your head right now that girls, right, that have been reported to have made like millions of dollars a day on OnlyFans. Okay, I think if you remember the first one that you heard that about, there were early trickles of it when the initial lockdown happened. But right when the second lockdown happened, right around that time, and people can fact check me on this, I'm happy to be wrong, but I want to say in that general like month period when that second lockdown happened, whoever that one, I guess she's an actress, I don't know who this person is, but someone named Bella Thorne.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you're right, bro.
Do you remember that?
How crazy the internet was when they got the confirmation that she started an OnlyFans. It was nuts.
So when she had started OnlyFans, right, that became the story, was this person set up an OnlyFans and then just $2 million just appeared in her account without her posting anything. So what do you like? What other way is there to promote something as a means of making money during an economic uncertainty? What is more effective than that as a promotion of that? Of saying
nothing.
That's perfect. That's excellent. That's like,
and she couldn't have made a cent,
right? But
on
it like literally, it could have been a coordinated thing. They may have just put that money. They could make bot accounts. They can pump people. They can literally make certain people rich and certain people not. And I think, like, for example, too, like Bad Baby or whatever, she's supposed to have made $54 million. Bro, I'm not I believe that she looked at her account and it said $54 million. I believe that.
Yeah.
I do not believe
not offer subscriptions.
that those were real people. That was something where they just decided I'm not going to say that she's in some like, you know, Illuminati. I'm not even going to say that.
I know.
I don't even know. She might think that it's legitimate. It has nothing to do with her, but it has to do with what that does for promoting that as a lifestyle, as a way of making money, of an alternative to, because you got to think about, right, like remote work was becoming an option. A lot of people were getting laid off. A lot of people who would have otherwise been exploiting themselves were getting laid off, right? Like girls that work at Hooters, right? These are people that would, with or without OnlyFans, have found a way to try to exploit themselves for money or their bodies, right? But now they're locked inside, right? And if they were working at Hooters or whatever, they're probably lazy anyways. So they wouldn't have looked up. I'm just kidding. But I'm saying like they wouldn't have just looked up for themselves. Oh, what are some ways I can do remote?
Right.
You know,
I understand what you're getting at.
Right. They needed it needed to be promoted like in a way where you would remember it. Like this person that you know about made this amount of money doing this thing. So it just, and Allie asked me, like, why would they go through all of that trouble, right? What
trouble is that?
So yeah, number one, $50 million is like a piss in the wind to any of these black budgets that these people have. They have billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars that they don't even need to start printing new money to make. They have it in slush accounts, in fake prop banks that they've created.
It's very accessible.
To hide, black operation money.
Yeah.
So this isn't about the cost of it, because no one's ever going to know what it cost, and it was no one's money to begin with, and of course they can just print more if they need it. It's all fake. So I think people get mistaken when they look at the scale of certain things and they think, well, they would have had to have gotten approval for that, or who would have signed off on that?
You're 100% right, and it's like, I won't get off topic with this, but it's the same thing as like the stream era now.
Streaming,
it's the same thing, right? But obviously it's a little bit different because the money fluctuations are much different. But anybody that can do simple math, go look at the amount of people it would take to subscribe to an OnlyFans for a month for $2 million to be generated throughout that 1 month.
No, it was one day. It was the day
that's even worse. That's even worse.
She literally opened up the account. That's the story.
So we're talking, what, $10 of subscription, right?
I think she had actually made it like kind of expensive. I think it was like $50 or something.
Even 50.
Yeah, I think, but
even 50.
But I don't even think she had posted. I think she maybe posted one picture or something.
She probably didn't post anything.
Or maybe she. I don't even know if that happened. But I know that it was one day, and it just what?
If it was 50, this is kind of believable.
Okay, how many people was it?
20,000.
Yeah, I mean that's
that day. That's the initial.
Right.
You know what I mean? That and they're here about it. So that could make sense. But these girls right now that aren't Bella Thorne,
right?
500,000 last month you made, and they have, like, from the podcast and interviews I've watched with a lot of these girls, you know, they say their shit's like $10 per subscriber. That's
there's no shot.
You mean to tell me that many different people? These aren't household names.
No.
These aren't famous people. These aren't well-known people. These are just girls who are mildly and slightly more attractive than the average female, right? Let's just say. Maybe even not that.
Not even. I mean, you look at like some of them and you're like, that would have been and that's why I know. I'm saying like that's literally would have been like a streetwalker, like someone you would see in like downtown LA, like next to crackhead.
For sure.
But they're like on No Jumper talking about how they make like $30,000 a week so here's what I think is happening. I think maybe there are some real genuine cases. Let's give them Bella Thorne. Let's say, okay, that was legitimate, but they definitely use that still to promote.
As the promotion, yes.
To promote it, right? And I think they probably keep a class of people. It's like any, thing that has to sustain itself.
It's like the top percent.
Right. You have like a top 1%, and then you have like a top like 5. Then you have like a bottom, like everyone else basically. And I think that 1% and 5%, because they go on so many podcasts, because they're influencers or they're trying to transition to being that, you see more of them. So you think that there's tons and tons of these, but it really is, if you look, like if we were actually, and we'll get to our bonus round. But I'll bring up
the last part.
I'll bring up these characters just so that we can begin to talk about it and lay the groundwork. But you see the show Fresh and Fit, and you realize if you were to be brain dead enough to watch that show more than, one time in your entire life, you would start to see some of the same faces start popping up. Like,
for sure.
It looks like at first glance when you see like 10 microphones, you're like, this is like
these people?
You're like, this is some hidden, economic powerhouse of young fun people in Miami.
Where'd they find these girls at?
Yeah, but no, it's really just let's say sub 500, and that's around the country, and then in Miami, let's say it's 200 of the 500 live just in South Miami. So that's a lot of people in that one concentrated area, but that's like it in terms of the people that make, let's say, more than $10,000 a month on using OF. Yeah. It would be those 200 people in Miami. For sure. Like, and I think that's why it can be kind of misleading that we think that like this is a believable story or that there is some truth or merit to it. But it's like, even when you zoom out and just like look at what's available to you in terms of the faces that you see on all of these same shows, you realize it is kind of a small group of people, and it couldn't possibly be something that's a legitimate way of garnering a fan base or anything. Right. It seems like it can kind of just like disappear too. Yeah. Like you'll hear about someone or a person that was running something like that, like an OnlyFans, and they're they have tons of money, and then suddenly they have nothing. And it's like, I don't know.
It doesn't just happen, bro. They tell you the story. Yeah. Oh, they got into this. They got into drugs, gambling. They weren't smart with their money. Like, okay, sure. Some people go through that, but at the same time, I think it's what you're saying, bro. It's not real. It's like play money, if you will.
Yeah,
it shows up in an account as being real. Yes, sure.
Yeah,
but you get 10 million. You go try to spend that 10 million. They're gonna
turn your shit off.
Hold your horses, buddy. Yeah. The fuck are you doing right now? And there's contracts, there's agreements. They know this stuff, but no, you know what? You're right, bro. I'm not saying that the prototype of the male fan base, right? That would be this person that does this OnlyFans, like subscribes to these OnlyFans. I'm not saying there's not real people like that, but to have this line of consistency with, even if it's 20 different women generating that much money, like, come on, it's not realistic, bro. I never for like a second believed that it was. No, I didn't really give it much of my attention because I don't care about that. Right. But at the same time, now that we're here talking about it and you've brought it up and like kind of made some of these thoughts arise within my head, like I'm calling bullshit, and that's impossible. It's just
you got to start to look at some of these things and realize that it's like, this almost seems like they're telling me a story that they want me to believe, rather than it's the actual life that they live. So the thing with the Fresh and Fit podcast and really just like that whole world too, is that the point of it, and this is kind of getting back to the conversation I was having with Allie, because she was asking, what's the point if they're trying to promote this? Okay, instead of saying that they're like some satanic, they want us to all sin.
Sure.
Let's pretend that that's not definitely what's going on. Let's just ignore all the signs that that's 100% what the real thing is. And let's just take it like more skeptically, cynically, and just, realistically. And what else can they do if they're looking at you during 2020 and they're saying, we were able to lock down all these people. We had almost complete control over their lives. They got a really good understanding of what are the last couple of roadblocks they have left. Like, it was almost kind of like a performance check.
Yes.
Of like, what are the last vestiges of sovereignty the individual has against the state? They figured out, surprisingly, that the family is really the last thing.
Literally.
There's something different about, like, when you have a person that lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City and is single, does not live with a significant other, and is alone by themselves, what you can influence them to do, how you can control and kind of fine-tune aspects of their life that would be harder to do if people lived in groups, communally. If you had people living communally, especially if they owned the land that they lived on, now suddenly as a institutional governing body, because we have a constitution, you now have certain like parameters.
Yes.
Not that they're gonna not still.
Oh yeah, they're gonna still make their way past.
But the thing is like they don't. That type of show of force is not conducive to running a society in the way they want. They don't want to have to do that if they don't have to. And if you give them these roadblocks, it makes it harder for them to just force their will onto you without them having to actually physically force it on you. Exactly. And then when they realize this during that same period, because these people are working around the clock
nonstop,
you think that these people are not waking up every day, like taking a deep breath, getting into their like nice, overhead shower, and like letting the shower fall on them and just being like, how can I destroy humanity today? I mean, that's literally, I mean, that's what it is. That's where we're at. Yeah. That's 100% where we are. We're in Batman level evil. We're at supervillain level evil. Like these people are supervillains. Yeah. Anyways,
what we're talking about was the perfect plan for that.
Yeah. So my final like sort of conclusion in talking about that conversation I had with Allie was that is kind of how that all ties in. Is that the point of it is not that that's going to be the one thing. It's not that everybody's going to get on OnlyFans.
Right, no.
It's death by 1,000 cuts. This is long game stuff. Mm-hmm. This is generational warfare. Yeah. This is not about you or me or, it's about like sort of kneecapping certain like pockets of demographics, certain pockets of, population centers. Yeah. There's aspects to this that this solves, but it's just a piece of a larger network of other tactics.
Yeah, this is like step 7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's kind of the best way to look at it, instead of, being too dramatic about it and being like, oh, they want it. Because even though they absolutely are, from another dimension, they're trying to harvest our adrenochrome, even though that is true, it's kind of, not conducive to really understanding what's going on to see it that way initially. You kind of have to remove that from the equation and just look at like what the like power tactics are. Yeah. And that I think was the point of OnlyFans.
And it's perfect because look at the state we're in now.
I mean, it works.
It's literally like to tie it back into your statement about the family being the last like form of sovereignty you would actually have. It's like not necessarily for me and my personal everyday. That's out the window. That's gone. Like OnlyFans, Fresh and Fit, all these influencers that kind of deal that are within that realm of what they put out as far as content. All fans, like all their viewers, like think about it, like the men that go watch Fresh and Fit all the time. Yeah. How do the majority of these guys feel that are longtime fans? All women are hoes. Right. All girls just want my money. All this. And then look at the flip side. All the women that go on these shows, or the women that get influenced by these people, these OnlyFans models, all these things. Mm-hmm. Now it's, and this is okay if this is what you feel as a woman. I don't need no man. I'm independent. Right. I'm going to go do all these things on my own. And it's literally terrible because now it's just the straight clash of both sides that it would take for the family to come together, start whatever it is. And really, what did they do? Technically they didn't really do much but give the platform for that to be able to influence everybody. They're not in there every day. I mean, I'm sure they have some influence over, but they're not in there every day like, yo, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, go do your episode about this. No, they don't even need to do that anymore. Them motherfuckers already been through the programming to where everything they come out with, whether it's their own thought or their ruler or their master's thought, all it automatically plays towards that hand of the agenda of the narrative.
When Andrew Bustamante and Andrew Tate, isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Were both, they had different names. Mm-hmm. They were both, one of them was half Taiwanese, half white, and the other one was Italian, Italian American. Yeah. And when they were living in Studio City and they were getting ready for orientation for the training program, they were talking about like, this is the rest of our lives. Like, we're committing now to these new identities, these new personalities. And I bet it was kind of a nice twilight that last day for them, where they kind of realized
last normal day of your life.
It was kind of like when we started, this show. Yeah. But no, but anyway, But I really think what happened with them is, you've seen Mission Impossible where like he has the kit that like they make that perfect mask. That's they didn't do surgery with these guys.
No.
These guys go home to their real families every day. I'll bet you $1 million this is true. You follow Andrew Tate, right? Like he's out somewhere doing an interview or whatever. I mean, I guess he's on house arrest, but let's just say like you follow him from when he gets released again. I think is he still in jail? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
You follow him from wherever he's leaving, and you think he's going to go to that like pad that you see on all of his interviews, but they pass by it. He keeps driving. You see it behind, like in his passenger seat window, that he's taking off a mask, and he's a 43-year-old Italian American guy, and he's just driving home, and he gets on a Motorola flip phone, and he's just talking on the phone to clearly his wife.
Yeah.
Totally
Hey
fake.
baby, you should put the chicken in the oven.
100%. It's a totally different guy.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Different
is
voice, everything.
I would be willing to bet money that that's what's going on. 100%.
That wouldn't surprise me, bro. It really wouldn't, because we've seen it, not in real life, but we've literally seen that play out in movies. And although movies aren't real, there is so much truth behind what you are shown through the form of entertainment, to the point where it's like you got to question some of it, bro.
So it's like there's definitely an actual office in Hollywood that is a CIA office where they consult on movies. That's just known. That's real. It's not a conspiracy, right? So they're making a movie called Mission Impossible, and they're not going to show you the actual stuff that they like. Why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they influence a movie that's literally about what they do or what they claim to do, right? So I think sometimes, obviously there's fantasy in movies, but I think sometimes they are kind of showing their hand literally with certain things.
Because it's in the form of a movie.
And exactly, yeah.
Oh, no. They wouldn't do that.
Or it's like, I mean, do you really think these screenwriters are just the geniuses? They just come up with these ideas. No one had ever told the writer of Mission Impossible anything. He just woke up one day and was like, this is exactly how it happens.
Yeah. This is it. This is my take on this, and I'm right about it. No, I mean, even look at like, look at some of the lengths of information gathering these studios and these directors and screenwriters go to make realism within a movie, regardless of the genre of the movie. Think about like, this may not be the best example. Think about like how a war movie goes, right? They will literally go to the military, go to the army, and get every little understanding they can about how a war would pan out, how cocking a gun, like every little thing that like, to you and I, as just the viewer, would be like, oh, why was that so important? If they would even just go to that link, which isn't that far to go to, right? Because they have the means and resources to do these things every day if they wanted to, 100%, right? Yeah. If they would do that for something that is so subtle, why would anybody believe they wouldn't take that 100 times over, but know how to dumb it down and sugarcoat?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not the step-by-step actual process. Right. Maybe they can't make the mask on the fly in a suitcase. I'm sure they can, by the way. But let's say that's the part they're exaggerating about. But the point is they definitely have technology where they can, without having to give you plastic surgery, give you a lifelike human mask that looks like someone else. They can do that.
It's crazy because I've been seeing a lot of threads about these human masks, and like you said, what's his name said, the comedian, I forgot what his name is, but don't believe what your eyes see or what your ears hear.
Oh yeah, Tim Dillon. Yeah,
Tim Dillon. Yeah, like, sure, take everything with a grain of salt just in case, but do I think it's impossible? Far from that, bro. Far. Because look, again, not to bring this, like, look at movie prosthetics. They make a motherfucker you've seen every time he's been in the media unrecognizable with prosthetics for a movie. You mean to tell me, again, that's the upper echelon of where they're at with that? No. Yeah. It is well beyond that, has been well beyond that, but you and I won't see it, and if we do, probably our last day.
Yeah, and also, like, if you think about, like, Zero Dark 30, for example. Yeah. Like, they showed you, supposedly, like, the Bin Laden raid, right? And kind of how everything was supposedly supposed to go down. Catherine Bigelow is a director that does pay attention to detail, realism, you know, trying to put you in the actual moment. And the technology that they were showcasing was supposed to be like hyper classified stuff. I mean, obviously it was declassified after the raid because one of the helicopters went down. Actually, the helicopters wasn't supposed, one of them just malfunctioned, but they were Area 51 like level top secret helicopters that you can't hear. Like they could be right over you, you cannot hear them until they're literally like right above you. Then you can just hear like a hum. But you can't, you know how you can hear a helicopter from miles?
Yeah, miles away, yeah.
Not these. And they had never told anyone about this. This was like super secret technology, but they used it to get the SEAL Team 6, apparently, allegedly, to bin Laden's compound. And yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of that in other movies and also in other ways. They're
now more than ever.
Yeah, they're kind of showing you, kind of teasing like, you know, the general rule of thumb is whatever you see out on the street or in consumer life, the military has like a
50-year advance. Yeah.
Well, usually people say 15, but yeah, the real is 50.
Yeah.
And what we're starting to find out is that it may have been at one point 100 years, right? Or more. And whoever that group of people are, that type of technology is starting to kind of come to the surface of like what was going on there, what
just
were those
now.
Programs. Yeah. So and it may not have been something that was continued onward. It may have been just like everything mishandled by our government because of bureaucracy or whatever. But it looks like there was also other things, you know.
Think about it, bro. If you or I witness something like that just with our eyes, that can't be fact to anybody else. To us, yeah, sure. I'm one person, you're one person. You know what I mean? And that's how like it really, for me, for a long time, it's already had me start to question like where the fine line of what we write off as being like batshit crazy, or at least at the very most possible fact, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think enough people don't consider that.
No, 100%. No, I think what's happening and what's happened since 2020 is that we're getting these abrupt openings of what's possible. Like these, the I don't know if Overton window is the right term for this particular phenomenon, but basically all of the conceivable possibilities that we were taught to believe like this is what is possible or what could happen has been every like 6 months or so on average since 2020, some event has like opened up like, oh wait a second. No, this could be going on. Wait a second. Like, and it just keeps, our world keeps getting bigger and more confusing. And
a little too quick.
At a breakneck speed. Like at a level that I can't believe has ever happened before. There's no way it's sustainable. That's the other thing.
It's not. And it's a constant overload. Like
constant.
And everyone.
You can be
fucks with you.
You can paralyze yourself with information. Yes. I've done it. Yeah, I know that it's possible. Like you could sit there on TikTok for 8 to 9 hours
and literally rot your brain
straight up. And they've perfected it now. It's out. The technology,
it's called doom scrolling.
Yeah, not even like, because I think doom scrolling is even minimizing it. It's not really giving you like, they found the final formula of keeping you looking at your phone forever.
Yeah. You're right.
You know what I mean? Like
no matter what you're doing.
That's what I'm saying, is that doom scrolling, it was kind of almost like
it's like a pastime.
It's a pastime,
in a sense.
But it's also something that you're kind of in control of because you're like, I'm choosing to just keep going. I don't even care. Like just give me more.
Yeah, I'm a victim of what you're saying for sure, bro. I'll be at work.
Like why not? Like
and then eventually I'm conscious. I'm like, dude, what am I? Put it away.
It's hypnosis.
Yeah, it is.
And they figured it out, and it wasn't this powerful even 2 years ago, even a year ago. No, it wasn't this. Even 12 months ago, TikTok was not this powerful. Instagram Reels were not this powerful. They have everyone now completely hooked.
Bro, they have the older generations who swore off technology years ago.
Hooked.
Like people in my family would like when I got my very first smartphone, right? So how long ago are we talking now, right? Compared to now with how everything is, because it was much different then, right?
Yeah.
I have people in my family who would like, oh, you're always on your phone, you're always this, you're not even doing anything productive, you're watching random shit. And it's like, okay, over 10 years later now,
everyone's like
their first steps into it, or middle steps into it are just so apparent now, because and you know what, you said it, bro. It is nothing less than hypnosis. That is exactly what it is. Because think about having the power at hand to witness and kind of engage in anything. Literally anything.
Or the perception of anything.
The perception of anything.
And that's the other thing, too, is that these are walled gardens. You are not getting all of the information.
No.
It's this overload of selected content, and it is very selected.
Because shit's hidden.
And this other thing, I'm not on Twitter, and I don't plan to ever return to
Twitter is terrible.
But I
used to love Twitter.
I think that's the sleeper, like that's the real bad one. I think that TikTok.
Thanks, Elon Musk.
Yeah, I think TikTok is for sure
like number 2.
A close number 2, and it's a number 1 in a different way.
Yes.
Right? But I think in terms of the overall, like TikTok is more of just like, if we fix the other big things in our society and culture in terms of like degeneracy and all that stuff, TikTok will kind of go away.
It'll be gone.
It'll be like Vine.
Twitter though.
But Twitter has this like hook in everything. It, like in the heartbeat of humanity.
Yes.
Twitter is there, and that power I think is very dangerous.
Doesn't that make you would assume it would make some people question why that was like one of the main things Elon Musk was going after?
No, I mean it's
why Twitter?
I mean it's
right?
an obvious buy.
100 billionaire.
Yeah, but if you it's when it's never been about the money for him.
Of course, it's not. Yeah.
So it's like when people talk about, I'm sure he hasn't checked his actual bank account or has cared about the actual numbers in his bank account in like 20 years. I think it's been
crazy.
No, for real. I mean, for real. And there's people, but Dom, like he's competing against people who have never. They have a assistant who has the number to their banker, who the assistant is the one who talks to the banker.
Yes.
They will see the banker once a year and get just a report on how much money their money made.
Of course.
And that's all they know. They
want to know.
They have best account credit cards. They've never used a debit card in their life. Everything is on the bank's credit. Yeah. And that's where Elon Musk is. I mean, he is in that world and he has been, but there are other forces that are older and above him and just kind of more institutional, let's say, that he's kind of combating against. But just the thing about Twitter though, and the thing that I hear about it is that since he's been on it, or since he's been the owner of it, it's gotten particularly like violent. And
oh my god, and super sexual.
Yeah, and super sexual. Those two hyper emotions
that lead to degeneracy. That
not just lead to degeneracy, but also lead to aggression. Like when you're just constantly like stimulated like that by very visceral emotions like anger, or like seeing a old lady get knocked out in a New York City,
or somebody gets slaughtered,
or someone gets slaughtered, right? Or a train like crash into someone, and you're just getting this like shock video content constantly, which I've been hearing is just on everyone's feeds now, right? It doesn't even matter.
You're at this point. Throw algorithm. I mean, it's still algorithm, but throw an algorithm out the window for what it was at the time of Twitter before that, right? Because they had limiters, they had blocks on certain things. Like, sure, you might see a post and then that's kind of it a little bit. Unless you like click on it, go through the thread, go to the accounts that are interacting. Like you had to make an effort to go. You know what I'm saying? Get to that point. Now it's just I'm scared to open Twitter in public, bro. It's not even shit I follow. It's not shit that I like. It's not shit that I retweet. It's not no accounts that I follow. I can literally open my phone and it is the same exact spamming of those two areas. It's violence,
sex violence, and it's like, okay, I guess we're still in the like childhood schoolyard free speech conversation where it's like.
Yeah, anything should be allowed. Yeah, sure.
It's just like
it's
this infantilized conversation where we have to talk about the right to speak our minds, like
no matter what is on your mind.
Like we've ever asked Fred Hampton if he had a right to speak his mind.
And I'm not pointing no fingers, but we know who a majority of that crowd is, and
Like, what is
this? This is what you want. Like that's my question to these people. This is what you want.
So like that's what I'm saying is that I don't want to go down the road of thinking that it's a psyop or whatever,
No.
right? I want to believe that this is some misguided attempt at trying to just sort of open the floodgates of content and be like, let everybody see everything, right? And I get if it is that, and it's genuinely that, I get the ethic or what they're trying to go for, but these are all very smart people and they understand like scale, they understand,
repercussions of this,
potential harm. So they know that that's not that they don't care. They see that it's the best revenue driver.
Yeah.
And that's really why it is the way it is. And that's why it'll stay the way it'll stay, because Elon Musk is, if he's anything, he knows how to keep a stock rallying. He knows how to keep that going up. So he's gonna say, as long, good press or bad press, as long as Twitter's in the news regularly, and as long as it's about something that's a hot button issue, people are going to trade it. There's going to be value. It may go down sometimes. He may fuck up, take a loss.
Yeah.
But everything does, exactly. But it can go up sometimes though too, big time.
Hugely, yeah.
So that's the other thing, is that's what, at this point, he's got nothing to lose. He'll never not have.
He'll never go under.
So it's not even about that. And I think having something that's so powerful right now, and it's not that it's everywhere. There's plenty of people that are not on social media. There's plenty of people that are completely unplugged from this entire matrix, and good for them. Yeah. And I've really had to start thinking about, even though we have to manage some of these accounts for our show, I am thinking about really taking a step back.
It's a constant raining thought, bro.
I mean, especially from TikTok, just because it's taken up a wild amount of my time in this last 2 weeks. And it just came out of nowhere. I used to never open the app, and then
the good thing is you became aware of that.
Right.
What I would say is relatively early.
Right.
Because I think about, obviously our engagement with the podcast is what got me to ever use TikTok, right? But I think about how long have I been hearing people tell me about TikTok? And it obviously started with the younger crowd for sure, all day. That's who it was probably aimed at, because it can just always work its way up. But how many years have I been hearing of people I talk to on a regular basis, people I don't talk to on a regular basis, somebody I don't even know, whoever you are? It's been years.
Yeah, bro.
And it's I would say fairly this year would be mine and your engagement to it. Full engagement.
Right, 100%. This is the first year I've ever really used it.
And look at how it is that quickly for us.
Yeah.
How far gone are these other people?
That's what I'm saying, is I'm just now starting to get onto the frequency that I feel like a lot of other people have been on for 4 years now, and it's a scary ass frequency.
It is, bro, because you don't care about shit, bro.
Bro, I don't want any part of it, bro. There's something so empty about it. And
you don't feel nothing. It does something for you, but you don't feel anything.
Yeah, man, it's numbing. One thing though that kind of sucks is that this particular news cycle is pretty interesting right now. The Diddy stuff going on, the eclipse, there's the war in Gaza, there's tons of stuff.
The royal family.
What's happening with the royal family? What's happening with? Did something
this is another example of what you were saying about just, things being placed where they are for the reason. And I haven't seen much coverage on this, and I'm understanding of what that means of certain topics and subjects. If I'm not seeing too much of it, but long story short, a lot of everything that you were just named and a lot of these things we're just seeing so heavy in the media right now is supposedly a diversion for the main article. The main thing I seen was basically that, the royal family, and this will come as no surprise to no surprise to you.
Right.
The royal family has been and still is running the largest sex trafficking operation to ever be known in the history of the world.
Wait, are you sure this is a real article that you read?
Article was the wrong word that I didn't mean to use article. It wasn't in the news, but
what? So where did you see this?
Twitter. Yeah, I know it doesn't really back my claim.
Oh boy. All right, Dom. Let's see what's. I haven't, because
like I said, it was very minimal.
I'm pretty plugged in on these topics. They're heavy in my algorithm, and I haven't seen anything in relationship to the royal family. That's why I'm kind of skeptical. Not that I don't think it's actually true.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I just want to
I've
see what
seen it
like,
once or twice.
I just want to see like what new evidence they've seen, because it's like, what? How does that get out? What's going on? That's not like, no. I mean,
it's going to be hard to find this.
They found, they found body parts in their freezers and stuff. I mean, we know these people. We know what these people are. This isn't rocket science.
I don't know why would you say these things. It makes me laugh because it's like not in a disbelief way of laughing. It's just like I'm glad we do this show together, because like I used to be the person that just like said these things, and I was I'm crazy.
But it's funny,
and I'm okay with that.
It's funny, man, how the crazy people 6-7 years ago just seemed like they were really getting their news from good sources nowadays. Some of them are still crazy, but,
of course.
But there are definitely some people where you're like, they had their ear to the street. They definitely knew what was up. Jaguar Wright, great example. Still probably not all there mentally. I'm sure. I mean, peace to her. She's, I'm sure, a wonderful person. No disrespect, but she definitely knew exactly.
Really look for that.
Yeah,
it was a few weeks ago when I seen it.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Let's see. Royal family. If it's not on TikTok, then you were just smacked. And
I was finagled.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, this will be our last segment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Royal family, right? Royal family.
Well, my problem right now is I'm on top and not latest.
Let's see. We're not even gonna cut this part.
No, we shouldn't. This is part of it,
bro.
This
is raw. This is real. All right, let's see. Royal. I'm seeing something about Kate Middleton.
Yeah, you're gonna see like Kate Middleton having cancer.
Yeah,
you're gonna see her coming back around her husband.
Let's see. Royal family. You said trafficking. Let's see breaking news. If it's not in breaking news, you were smacked.
No.
Kate Middleton is dying. Kate Middleton's siblings bringing out a canceled press acts to leave.
And they abruptly canceled whatever big announcement they were about to do, as the flags are flying half-mast, and Obama was seen there for a surprise visit on Downing Street, among everything else going on. What is happening here? Guys, make sure and click the plus sign. I'm going to have more on this you don't want to miss. Sound off in the comments and tell me what you think. But I want you to take a look at this. This was put out by Tracker Deep, who's been looking at this situation on Twitter, and see what they have to say. So it says, update. Press told to clear
I just typed in royal family.
Hold on, I think I found it.
Okay.
By royal family canceled abruptly. Remember, we were told we were supposed to get this big announcement a couple days ago, and we haven't gotten anything. And now you can see it says underneath here. It also says the flag at Buckingham Palace has been reinstated at full mast. So this happened recently. Press at Buckingham Palace earlier in the morning were told to leave, and were told that there would be no announcement from the royal family at this time.
So what? Okay, so what do you have? What do you have?
This is a video. Let me see.
Let's see here.
One of Epstein's accusers, has made allegations.
Maybe what I seen was just speculation, but it first came about by ties of the royal family to like Epstein Island, and
I mean, yeah, I mean, like Prince Andrew was caught red-handed. He has been basically put into the shadow realm from public life because of how obvious and, I mean, just bizarre his final interview was. I really think in closing, what anyone should do at the end of this podcast is just go and watch Prince Andrew's BBC interview, the last one he ever did.
Scary.
It's one of the weirdest things ever. Eric Weinstein talks about it in a really good way, just in a really entertaining way, where he's like, there is something so bizarre about it. It must be like one of the most bizarre interviews in like history, because it's either that whatever this person is doing is like they've been caught so badly that they just don't care, and they're just basically thumbing their nose at you, like, I'm just going to tell you something that's, you know, I'm lying, but you can't do anything about it, so I'm just going to waste your time. Either it was that, or it was actually like somebody that was that deluded to think that anyone would ever believe something that's stupid. So both of those possibilities are horrifying.
Of course.
Neither one of them is a good situation, you know, and I think like it really shows you that this issue, these things that are starting to come up and bubble up to the surface, are so massively intertwined into so many of the institutions and power structures that we were told never to question and kind of pay no mind to and sort of accept, you know, and it's like you peel a little bit of the paint off. You know what this is starting to be like? This is like you buy an old house and somebody is like, okay, you know, the house is not perfect, you know, move in, get your stuff. And, you know, it looks nice. It's beautiful. You start chipping at the paint and you pull it off and there's just pentagrams and outlines of babies, but small humans, and just splatters of black blood. That's what society is turning out to be. It seems like the structure that upholds everything.
Yeah, there's no ease into it, bro. It's just like you peel a little bit back and you're in. You're in.
You literally just have to take off the surface layer, and so much of this seems to be laden.
And it brings the question for me.
Yeah.
What happens when you dig deeper?
So
that's what worries me, bro.
Here's the thing. I think we're just, so it's like things come in a cascade, right?
Yeah.
Like the stuff that was super hard to find, the information that was very weak, like the signal was weak maybe 10 years ago. Like things about Epstein are super loud now. The signals, everything you need to know about what's public about that is available to you. It's right at your fingertips, right? Major publications have everything, right? But there was a time where you could still find a lot of that info, but it was just very hard.
You just had to look for it.
You had to really look for it, right? And I think because now that layer of information is now pretty much permeated and you know able to be easily accessible, I think we're now starting to see the other information, like the deeper information, just starting to appear. Yeah, and it's hard to find.
And we're gonna go through. We're gonna go through that cycle more.
Exactly, and then that's gonna get closer, and that signal's gonna get stronger, and then it's gonna be more easily acceptable. You know, information. But I think an example of that, like deeper information, like what's the other layer, is what that dude who was working at Antarctica on that Sean Ryan podcast that we were making fun of.
Yeah,
I think that's what I think. They've had deep space out units. They've had people out in deep space for like 35 years.
It was the dude that was talking about the fucking that machine that the
positron. They have directed energy weapons. They've been doing that for 25 years.
I'm not laughing in disbelief either.
But this is like, and then what I think there's probably an ice wall. Like we're gonna need to start getting used to the idea that maybe there's more than 7 continents. Maybe certain people from World War II are still alive. And just in other places on the planet. I think we're gonna start to get different answers to questions that we used to get one kind of answer from. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and then from that point forward, civilization and humanity as we know it is forever going to be changed. So much so that there's no point of return then.
I wonder, because I think the rap issue is a good microcosm of this whole thing that's going on with society at large. So we peeled off the Diddy layer, right? And then we got exposed. We opened up the Diddy file. We, read the documents.
It's just constant stamps to take that in the file.
Just take that written over and over again in a typewriter. We studied those documents, and what did we find, right? We found other people with names like Lucian Grange, right? Then we found out that there were, certain private prisons that had been part of investment portfolios for certain music executives. And, like that kind of showed you sort of what was really going on with like that whole sort of power structure that controlled rap, right? And then it kind of it sort of made other things make sense. Like, why is there this push for gangster rap, right? Why does the black community seem like it's struggling in a way that it's always had struggle, but it's a way that's particularly pronounced and acute that are dealing with issues that we weren't even dealing with 50 years ago. Where are these new issues of fatherlessness, of mass incarceration, of drug abuse? Where is this coming from?
They disappeared.
And it's like we're seeing that like rap might be some sort of
hypnosis.
Exactly. And I think we're starting to realize, like, I
need to
think
get a soundboard with hypnosis on there.
I think we're gonna record it after this episode, but I think we're starting to kind of see that model, right, exists at almost every scale in every part of every institution, that you have that extraction model that you can see in the music industry, specifically with rap. Like, literally, the product that you are selling is not the music. The product that you're selling is the consumer. The consumer is going to add to your portfolio. They don't care about your 250,000 records you sold on your first week. You think that's what pays for their villas? That's not what. No.
That's again, not to get off topic, but you saying that just made me think of something I watched earlier today that most people wouldn't take the example that you just gave into full effect. Bobby Shmurda had an interview where he was explaining when he made one song, Hot Nigga, that song, he made the company $178 million, and he got paid $250,000.
Of course he did.
And you know, everybody that watched that, you guys, they think his streams made that much money to the company? No. What are we talking about? We're talking about Bobby Shmurda.
Yeah,
that nigga ain't no real rapper.
No,
he's not an artist.
He was something.
He was a messenger.
So, like, think about it like this, right? It's 1978. We're two, psyops officers sitting in, a building that on the outside looks like a McDonald's, but on the inside is a,
super high tech lab,
super high tech, black site. And we're just shooting the shit. We're trying to figure out, like, okay, we have these lyrics to these hypnotic spells that we found, the methods of how to create, and tombs that we raided in Egypt, and, found the Dead Sea Scrolls and figured out how to create mind control spells, right? But, like, we can't say these spells. No one's going to listen to us. We're trying to infect this, culture of people and control them, but we're not from that culture. Right. How are we going to get these spells into these people's minds? Well, they find people like Bobby Shmurda.
Did you ever see the video where they have him performing?
Yeah, he's the vehicle for this.
Bro, it's not. It's weird.
These people are the vehicle. They are performers. They are literally like Geppetto, like puppets on string. I mean, if you ever need to see, and I'm sure people listening to this are savvy enough to have seen the whatever it's called, their signing bonus, or what their signing performance, what's it called, where they have to actually perform in the boardroom to the executives.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That video of Bobby Shmurda having to do that, it was in front of like L.A. Reid and all the execs are just like, that's not normal.
That's not only is that first of all, there's something so sinister and cynical and evil about the fact that that's available and out there, right? Because they're not dumb. They're savvy business people. Yeah. They know how that looks.
Yes.
They know that that is not something that necessarily paints that artist in a good way. It's actually something that would hurt that artist's image, right? And it's interesting when we saw those videos, when those started coming out.
It was well after he was, It
was probably when his contract was up and his, they didn't own his music anymore. It was probably when that kind of stuff started hitting the press, right? So I think that kind of stuff is like, they are like laughing at you, just by the fact that being out, like, they didn't have to leak that video. It could have been in a controlled enough environment where you would have never seen that. So the fact that it's out there is intentional,
for sure,
and they want you to know that these are the people that you think are these hard guys,
gangsters,
tough guys. Look at what we got them doing.
And nigga talking about he's been selling crack since 5th grade. He's not getting up on a table in front of these business savvy people and dancing around like a fucking jester. Like, I don't want to use the word.
No, but that's
the S word.
But it's what it is. I mean, like, what can you say? Like, what else?
What like that? Like, in my head, that's all I seen on there was like,
It really is like minstrel, but it's as old as the industry itself.
Yes.
The humiliation is as old as the practice itself. It is a part of it. It is not a flaw. It is a feature.
Yeah, that wasn't, like you said, that was not leaked by accident.
No.
Somebody didn't go hack into their files and they found, oh, look, guys, this is what Bobby Shmurda had to do for his deal. No.
And some nerd might listen to this if we cut this, and some bad kind of nerd might listen to this and look up an article that it found out that like maybe press was allowed in the room. Even if that's allowed, that's intentional. That's just more to our point.
That's worse.
That like exactly, that's worse. That they know the optics of that. They know that that's not a good look. If you're selling the image that this rapper is supposed to be this authentic street guy, and you've got him in a fucking boardroom, like dancing like a literal minstrel show, like on their table, and you got like old white ladies like smirking at him, like clearly looking at him like he's a clown, and that's not a good look for his image. So it's just, if they're releasing that, that's intentional.
Yeah. We were made to see, like, it was made for us to see that eventually.
Yeah, man. I think
it's nuts. Scary.
I think the revealing is upon us, and I think it's so interesting that rap is the first to go. As the curtains come down, you would have thought that rap wouldn't be so important and instrumental in the demonstration of how all of this is alive, but it was.
Now we're seeing.
And it's like we wanted to kind of look at rap as it was
like the rebellious, like,
right,
like everything else was however it was, but rap was like, every new genre of music that was introduced and made and popularized was like done in a much different way. Rap came out as this like, it was very substance heavy. It was your escape from that.
Right. Yeah, it was something that was supposed to be entirely like unique and authentic.
But what better way to construct this plan?
That's what I think it goes back to our earlier point, is like the people that are trying to do these things are the best, some of the smartest people. They're not dummies.
No.
Like, there are a few dunces, but very few and far in between. Most of the people that are in charge, let's say it like that, the people that are in charge of these programs are not idiots. No.
Far from that.
Yeah, but no, I think this is a good place to kind of cap it.
Before they shut us down.
Right. Any closing thoughts?
Keep listening to Rap Kids. Keep streaming all these albums. Strive to be these people.
Hey, actually, something I wanted to do on air. I wanted to do real quick an album review for J. Cole. This might take a few minutes.
We love you guys.
Hold on, wait, guys. I think Dom thinks that we don't have enough time left.
Dom knows what's coming.
No, we've got enough time on the memory card, Dom. Just chill, man. We can just hang out here.
I already know where this is going.
Hold on. So it's called Might Delete Later. First time listening, guys. Never heard this album, and we're just gonna go song by song. So it may take a little while, but let's hang out, guys. What else are we doing tonight? All right, first song. You guys ready? 1, 2,